everybody, and welcome back to another video. Oh, well, as you've already seen from the roller shots we got of the Jeep, we have this thing dialed in. And in this video, I'm gonna go over what all you need to do to swap a 6BT Cummins into a 94 YJ Jeep. I'm sure this goes for other years. I just know that for the 94s, the YJs at least, this is all you need to do. We're just gonna touch on what needs to be done if you are gonna swap a 6BT into your YJ. So we are going to start with the front of the vehicle. I'm gonna try to keep this quick and simple. What I ran is a 66 Mustang radiator. It keeps the temperature at about 180 to 190 in that range on hot days. So I believe I've got a 190 thermostat. We have the electric fan. It was a kit I got on eBay. It came with the radiator and the electric fan kit and all that. So the 66 Mustang fits in nicely. You will need to cut your grill part here. You'll have to cut at the bottom and then at the top here, and it'll fit right against it right here and work nicely. Now, going down to the radiator hose, the lower bottom radiator, the one coming out of the Cummins engine is like a 3-inch or something. You can look it up, you'll know on yours, it'll have the radiator hose. What I had to do is I had to cut it and then weld in like this little U-shape fitting with a reducer on it to fit to the like 2.5-inch hose that comes, or 2 1/4, I can't remember, off of the lower fitting of the radiator. So you will have to kind of customize your own thing. There may be a better option out there. I just know this was the cheapest option and the quickest option, and I didn't have time to order anything off of the internet. I needed it that same day. So there you have it. Right here, there is a couple different options you can do. This originally came out like this and was for a driver's side port. So it came out right like this, and I cut it off, as you can see, and I just ran the hose straight, and I didn't have a piece long enough, so I had to put this piece of piping in here, and you know, someday I'll fix this, but for right now it's working fine. So I chose to cut it off. That way it was a straight shot instead of trying to find a hose that looped around in the back. So the cooling side, we've wrapped that up. Let's move on to the actual engine application of this Jeep. So this is a 24 valve. I got rid of the VP pump, which is a electronic pump. It uses an ECU, all that stuff. So I got rid of that. Oh, excuse me. That's one thing that makes this swap so much easier and simplistic than other swaps. That's why most people probably swap a motorcycle. That's why most people probably swap a 12 valve in their vehicles for the simplicity of the mechanical fuel pump, which is this part right here. However, I had a 24 valve and I purchased a P pump. To be exact, it's a P7100 pump. So I have found out as of recent that the fuel plate was removed on it, and the fuel rack, I guess it's called the AFC housing, has been slid all the way forward to give it as much fueling as possible. So yeah, that's already been done on this pump, and I did put a bigger I forget what this is called, but it's for the fuel rack to slide a millimeter open more. So anyways, that has I replaced that when I built this engine. If you go back in my videos and you watch the whole build series, you'll see that. So I ran my intake off of the turbo. The compressor housing runs around and right down in here, as you can see. Now, I did that because I didn't have another V-band clamp, or else I would have just gone straight from here to here and just dumped it straight in. But in this instance, it works fine. And eventually, maybe if I want to, I can run an intercooler somewhere. So what that leaves us with is you've got the P pump here. It is off of a 12 valve Cummins, so you had to replace the timing housing here. So you've got to get a new timing case and P pump, and then the P pump gear, you have to get that as well. Now, I removed the fan clutch, so you can see right here where it would screw on, that's gone, and that allows you to have tons more room to work with. Going to the alternator side of things, I chose to go this route with a external regulator right here, just like the older first gens had. I've heard people say that it's not reliable. They've had charging issues. That may be the case. I've been driving this for about 3-4 weeks now, and I've had no issues with it. So take it for what it's worth. They do sell a one-wire alternator conversion for these. They're about $500, and I just can't get myself to spend that much money for something that you can buy these external regulators for about $40 or $35, I can't remember, and do the same thing, keep it charging. So if you already have a 12 valve alternator, that's what this is. It's the older style alternator. The 24 valve alternators, you have to have the ECU to get them to run. So those will not work on a full mechanical setup like this. So the P pump on this is not electronic, guys. So you've got a throttle cable down here, and then this is your shut off right here. Cable. So if we come inside, this right here, I pull it out and it turns the fuel, shuts the fuel off. It pulls this cable, and that's how you turn the vehicle off. Then you flip the key off to turn off the fuel pump. So on this truck, getting the fuel, I have an Air Dog, and it's not the Air Dog pump for the 24 valve, guys. Literally everything for this engine, even though it is a 24 valve, your fuel, everything else is not going to be for a 24 valve. It's very important because if you buy a air dog or a pump that is built for a 24 valve engine, that is made for the VP pump, and that is not going to give you enough pressure if you're running a P pump style. So let me try to explain this to you one more time so you get it in your head. A VP pump, those pumps are, you know, maybe pushing out somewhere around probably like 15 psi, 17 psi, and that's all that the highest they can push out. So these pumps need like a minimum of like, I think it's like 40 or something psi to run these P pumps. So the lift pump running from your which I'll show you right here, you can see that's the top of it. You've got the two filters here, but that pump right there is giving out a lot of PSI for the P pump. So that is kind of your fueling situation is very important, and you need a lot of fuel with these P pumps. So that's kind of, just remember, if you're P pumping a 24 valve, when it comes to the fueling side of things, you're going to be looking for 12 valve components, not a 24 valve stuff. Okay, that brings us to the power steering. I was able to utilize the stock Jeep high pressure oil line pump, the lining. I'm sure there's a better way to word that. But the point is, right down here, you've got your gearbox for your steering, and you've got your high pressure line right here, your low pressure line coming out as well. Both run to the steering pump on the Cummins. So the high pressure line will screw. If you have it off of your old engine, keep it, because it literally will screw right into the Cummins power steering line. It's the same thread pitch, same configuration. That's one thing that going with these, you know, Jeeps and Dodges, Chrysler, they're a lot of the same fitting, same thread pitch, stuff like that. So keep that. You'll be able to just screw it right in, and your low pressure line will plug in right here. I don't know if you can see that, but where my finger, that's for the low pressure, and then this other one down here, you will be able to plug with a plug, because you're not going to need it, because these do not have hydro boost for your braking system. So then on your vacuum pump, literally all you do is run a vacuum line to your right here. So your brake booster, you will run this vacuum line right to it. I just tied it in right like this. And that is all you need to do for your power steering, guys. Very, very, very simple, yet very effective. These are 36s, big Mickey Thompsons. And with all the extra added weight on the front end with the Cummins Swapped, it turns, I can turn the wheel with one finger. That's how good it works. So, all right. On mine, one battery is plenty. I got a Cummins battery and just ran with one wire. I've got the ground running to the frame, the firewall. You can see that right there. So the ground's running there, which is really nice because essentially the whole Jeep now is one big ground. So I can If I'm working on lights or on any switch or something and I need a ground source, I can ground it out to the fender, I can ground it out to the firewall, I can ground it out to the frame, I can ground it out anywhere that metal is touching, and get a ground for a super nice and super clean install. So got our power wires. Yeah, that's pretty much wraps up the engine bay, I believe. The Jeep has a 3-inch lift on it, body lift. So it already came with the body lift. I did not have to install that. So it worked out perfectly because it gave me plenty of room to clear the trans tunnel. I've got plenty of room. Don't mind the rust. I have a new floor pan that is going to be installed in here. So that's the only bit of rust on this Jeep. And so that will get addressed. So we come to the clutch. This is off of a Cummins NV4500 clutch because I have the NV4500 transmission, 4-wheel drive, and let me tell you, it works great. The transfer case is a 241 DHD. It's the big beefy one. I didn't plan for that, it just came with it, and we'll get to that maybe later if it's important, but we got that. Let's see what else. Motor mounts, I made my own. So if you look here, I utilized the stock Cummins motor mounts. So they sell some kits, or they sell a kit that is for a 4BT swap, but you can use them for the 6BT as well. I can't remember the name that makes them, but they're like $500, $450, somewhere in there. And it's motor mounts. All you got to do is weld them to the frame. I didn't want to spin that, and I had some 1/2-inch plate, so I decided, shoot, why not do it? And that's what we used. It might be 1/4-inch plate actually. Can't remember, but without a tape measure, I think it's 1/4-inch plate. Point is, I had it and I didn't want to spend, I did it for free. Didn't have to spend the $500 for it. So where you put those is based on your engine placement. I went as far back as I could. I felt it was very comfortable space between the firewall and the engine. I wanted a little bit of space, and I have about probably 1.5 to 2 inches of space, which, as you can see, still leaves me plenty of room. It worked out perfect. I think I decided last I measured it, I think I have a 5-degree angle tilt on the engine, so 5 degrees slanted back. Part of the reason why I went with 5-degree angle is because of the drive shaft situation, which we will get to. I had to custom make my own throttle brackets and stuff like that, and put some springs on there to help it spring. Suspension, stock YJ Jeep suspension, guys. Stock. You don't have to go with a Dana 60 swap, or even if you upgrade to the JK axles. These are stock YJ axles. Stock YJ axles, guys. And this thing runs fine. I don't know how long they will last. I just don't know. But as of yet, they run fine. and I've had no issues with it whatsoever. I should have brought this up earlier, but because we did the P7100 pump swap, there is no electronics like computer, so it's very simple. It just takes 2 wires to run it, and it's very easy. The clutch pedal, your NV4500 you know, clutch and slave will bolt up. You will have to make some kind of bracketry. I did this style, drilled, and you know, it works fine. No problems at all. If you can see how I did it there. But it does attach. It does attach normal, like it's got a little eyelet ring that will slide right in like your Jeep one did. So they're the same concept. When it comes to the actual transmission and shifter, I did put a small bend in here, about a 45-degree angle. So I drove with it for a while, like this. But then I put this bend in it. So if we're on top, and you can see the shifter came like right here. So first gear, and then second gear was like right here, and it would graze your leg, and I have bigger legs, so it would graze your leg. So with this 45-degree angle, first gear is here, second gear is right here. So you can see how second gear would have been like right here. Take that bend off. So that was something that I actually did yesterday, and it has made shifting a whole lot easier. Now, because when we come to the gauge side of things on here, at least on the 94s, they use the ECU to control your gauge clusters. So I have a device. I haven't ordered it yet, but my cousin told me there's a device that converts your it's for like conversions that you want to utilize the stock, tack, and speedo. So it's a box you plug in, and then it's got all your inputs and outputs that go to your speedometer, tachometer, and it eliminates the need for your ECU, because I don't have the ECU in the Jeep anymore to run stuff. So that I will be able to keep with that box, I'm told. However, all these, the boost, fuel gauge, water temps, oil pressure, and stuff like that, I decided to go all new because I wanted to keep all these looking the same, and just it looks way better. So we'll start with our fuel over here. One wire runs back to your sending unit on your fuel tank, and then one wire from your fuel tank will run to your ground. Okay, and then just you know, this will need a positive wire to run it as well. Volts are very simple. Just plug into a 12 volt that is on a key switch. So when you turn the key on, then you see the voltage. Turning the key off, you know, if you plugged it into a constant hot, you would get, this gauge would always be reading on, which you could do, I guess, but it's probably better just to put it on a switch thing. Oil pressure, very simple, just runs up to a oil fitting, pressure fitting somewhere on your engine. I have it going into the top of the oil pump housing where your like feed line for your turbo go. I've got it there. Water temp, same thing. I have it run to a water jacket on the actual cooling system. And your boost, I have it run to my compressor housing on the turbo. Everything works great. No complaints there. So I'm going to cover this now. This is my fuse box I got off of eBay. I love it. It turned out really good and very clean. So what I have, this is all constant power here. So what I have is a power cable, the big heavy duty power cable coming from the battery, the engine battery. So it's coming from the battery and it's feeding this fuse box. Then I have, this is your ground side. I have it run nice and thick to the trans tunnel right here. So that's that. Now you can run grounds to all these little screws right here are all your grounds that you can run grounds to if you need them. So these are all the ones I have used, and I've got this one used obviously. But let's look at what I have. So I have these all under constant power. So the key is off right now, but watch. When I hit the alright, you see that? So I have them all under constant power. It was the easiest way to do it. So we've got wipers, running lights, driving lights, hazards, turn signals. The DC outlet was for the cigarette lighter, and my phone charger, that's what I really use it for. So I wanted it to where I could charge my phone without the Jeep being on. So it's just nice having that. But this makes it really clean and easy. And you know, you screw it down so it's nice and tight. I still want to run this up like that. I just need to get the clips for it. So this is a sump right here. This is how I have my fueling. It comes with a hole saw bit. So you drill up into your fuel tank. You've got these two lines. You've got your feed line and return line. That is how that works. It's very simple. And then you've got it running to your FAS or whatever kind of fuel pump you decide to go with. FAS, air. And this right here is my drive shaft. So it's a very short drive shaft. I had to re-angle the rear axle up a little bit to make this joint work really well and fit good. So couldn't be more happy. It turned out pretty decent. I'm pretty stoked on it actually, and works very well. Here's the air dog, how I have it hooked up. You've got a feed line coming in right here. Then that's your return line coming back from the pump. And then I utilized the return line from the actual engine is using the stock return line from the tank, the old Jeep. So I retained that. I have not installed or fabbed up the front drive shaft for the four-wheel drive yet. I have it all right here. I've got, this is the Cummins one that will go in. This is the one that came on the Jeep, the YJ originally. They are the same U-joint, so that's pretty sweet. I think I'm gonna have to make this drive shaft a little longer So what I'm going to do is cut it and sleeve it with a little bigger piping, and then weld it, and that should be good. There's so much that I'm probably forgetting something. If I am, you know, please forgive me and drop it down in the comments, and I'm more than happy to comment and tell you exactly what I did or what needs to be done. And if you're going with a little different setup than what I am, things might be a little different, but you can do it. So keep it simple, stupid. That's what I tried to do on this. So that pretty much wraps this video up, I guess. Maybe we'll cut now to some more roller shots of us tearing up the streets when my cousin was here yesterday, actually it was. We fine-tuned this and you know, found it was pretty saucy. Leave your comments below. Don't forget to give this a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe if you aren't, because that would really help me out in growing this channel. And don't forget to share this with anyone who might be interested. Keep grinding as always. Peace.